Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you see what I did?
No, I didn't.
We have our weekly complaining session about Restream, and
No.
we did an initial entrance of our faces before the intro started. So hopefully you were like on point.
Probably wasn't.
Again, if you have a different streaming device, let us know, because we are not happy with Restream right now. Oh my gosh. I logged in today and it said updates available. I'm like, oh crap.
There it
But
is.
we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our hearts and fears and prayers and all of the above are with our beautiful people in Florida. Hopefully you're not watching us this morning and you're headed out of town.
Right.
I keep watching that. You never know what to believe on the weather report. Here in northern Indiana, it's like we just take the weather reports as suggestions because they don't know what they're doing up here in northern Indiana.
Mm-mm.
But they seem to know in the South right now.
God kind of gave me something today.
Yeah?
He always gives me something. But this morning,
he's like that.
He's like that. And I was just like, I woke up and I had that like epiphany of, you know what? With all the devastation that's happening down south, like, what's to say that couldn't have been me? Like that is, it could have been Indiana. It could have been some, and I would maybe be in the struggle bus that everybody else is in. But, in the morning, I like to think about the things that I'm grateful for and the gratitude, the vitamin G. And this just gave me a perspective today of like, wow, that really hits hard, because you see these people are waking up this morning and they are not in their house.
Yeah.
They may be still out in the mountains because nobody's reaching out to them or can find them, or it could have been in a more devastating situation where I could have lost my family, things like that everybody else is not everybody else, but those people down there are experiencing. And then yet another hurricane is
another one
hitting. So I am just
prayers.
My vitamin G today is, feeling very, very blessed. And that is where my prayers are with this morning. So,
and Ronald Reagan was more right today than he ever was when he said, "Don't believe when the government says I'm the government, I'm here to help." We take care of our own people. We do not need the government to come in and take care of our people. Just the more I have emotions when I watch what's really happening. And thank goodness we have things like TikTok that people make fun of. But that's where I'm getting the real news. And because you see the video and you see what's really, really happening on the ground there. You don't see that in the media. And so I'm thankful for things like X and things like, TikTok, where they're giving us the real news and what's happening, because we would not have it, if we didn't have those things. So hold on, Florida. Get out of there if you need to get out. Don't mess around. Don't mess around, and be strong and stay when you need to get out of there.
Did I read it right that it is a category 4, but is it going into a category 5? Did I read that right, or I
read that it was a 5, but there's a potential for it to go down to 4. I heard that it's a 5 now, but I haven't.
Well, maybe
we were show prepping, so I didn't get the latest. If you know, drop it in the comment.
Yeah.
If you're from Florida, drop it in the comments. Yes. We want to pray for you by name, because this isn't anything to mess around with.
No.
Also, early voting is opening up. This is another reason why I support early voting. I love voting on election day. I love that whole God bless America kind of thing. But this has really shown me go vote. Get your vote on the ballot now, because you don't know. We don't know what life will bring on the day on election day. I love voting on election day, but I want my vote counted. So if you should be, I think it's open. Yesterday was the last day to register. And in here in Indiana, I don't know where it is in your neck of the woods. Drop that in the comments. We're going to be a resource center for everybody. So
yes, here's where we have a lot of passionate beliefs and what we support, just a little bit.
We hold it back. We hold it back,
dude. I'm just saying that she holds it back.
I did not on my Facebook page this morning. I am livid at people of faith right now.
Yes,
livid.
But I had this conversation at church, and I don't know where they stand on the political world. But I said, this whole new movement for the doctors to be standing up and speaking, and the politicians to be, letting it be known of what is happening to our food system, that should make you fired up. I'm just saying. It doesn't matter what you believe. You should want to know and not
what's
be
in
poisoned.
Your food. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly what's in your food. So that is kind of a part of, of my decision making, and and these natural disasters, like things like this, things that you don't think about, start to bring more pieces together of where I'm landing.
Me too.
And I encourage everyone to make that decision, like for themselves, obviously, but go out, whatever party you're going to vote for, just vote.
My gosh, how many people died for your right? I watched, and just on the women's side alone, I watched the movie Suffrages, and we did not have the right to vote just a few years ago. Who do we think we are not voting? I'm going to rip on the Christians right now. I'm sorry, this is a health channel, but I'm going to rip on them. There is no excuse for 51% of Christians not to vote. What 51%? The heck? They came out in a George Barna survey yesterday.
What?
And I saw some of my own friends on my Facebook page say, this is how I feel being the only Christian not voting. And there was this little cornstalk thing. Then don't show your face at any political event, and do not give your opinion on anything happening in this country if you choose not to vote.
Yeah.
If you choose, I don't care what side of the aisle you are on, 51% of Christians. Now, let me tell you something. I am not voting for a pastor. I have a pastor. I love him dearly. He is amazing. I don't need someone sitting in the White House who is my pastor. They're getting all holy and all high and mighty about how, they don't like the morality. And my gosh, this is compared when Christians don't vote. Let me bring you back into some history. This is not our topic today, but let me bring you back onto the history of when millions of Jews were exterminated from this earth. Do you know what the church did? The church turned up their organs and sang their music louder as they heard the Jews getting put on the boxcars to go get gassed to death. That's what the church did. There were 3,000. I just learned this weekend. There were 3,000 churches who spoke up and said, enough is enough. We're not killing Jews. We're not participating. There were 3,000 woke, the woke preachers we've got these days. There were 3,000 of those. Yeah. There were 12,000 churches who sat on the fence and watched those Jews die. Fence sitting is owned by the enemy. Fence sitting. You sit on the fence, you're owned by the devil. I'm sorry. I'm a health coach, but I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. Not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Stop sitting on the fence and get out there and vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just do it.
Practice it.
That is my rant of the day. I didn't realize that I was really miffed by that.
You just really needed to share that.
51%.
That's it.
There's no difference to me between these Christians today who are not voting and the Christians that sent those Jews to the boxcars. No difference at all. You have a voice. Here's one more fact before we get started on our topic. Did you know there were 8 races in the last election that were decided by 100 votes? 8. In Georgia, the Georgia story, 8 races were decided by 100 votes. And people say their vote does not matter. Let me tell you, it does matter. Get your butts to the polls. It's time.
Yeah. Moral of the story.
I'm fired up. I didn't realize I was fired up this morning when I got up. 51%.
That's an eye opener. I mean that's
if you're one of those, please defriend me. That's how mad I am about it.
Oh no.
See you later. Sorry.
I would just say, don't let the fear of what people think of how you're going to vote determine.
How do people know?
I don't know. Yeah.
When you go into that voting booth,
nobody
unless
should
you
know.
tell people, nobody knows who you're voting for.
Practice your right. Moral of the story: practice your right.
Let's do a breathing exercise.
Gary Brecka, is that how you say his? He does some sort of breathing thing. To me, that makes me feel lightheaded just watching him.
The box breathing. That's one of our.
No, it's his morning I don't know. It's called something.
Like having a baby.
It's almost. Yes, I feel like when I watch that, I'm like, I just take it. Just
hold
take
on.
a normal breath.
Pick me up off the ground.
But there's a reason for it. I'm sure I've
heard of the box breathing. The box breathing,
Box breathing is great, but this is more intense than the relaxed box breathing that you're doing right now. This is like intense, and I think it's like getting your brain started.
Okay.
I don't even know. But there's so many techniques, so many things, which kind of leads us into what our topic is today of basically, what is the topic of today?
Why would somebody pay for any expert advice on your health journey when you can go to Dr. Google and do it for free? Why would somebody?
And this is it. This helps me bring in my point is that there are so many experts out there that do things that work for them and work for a certain amount of people, but may not be geared toward what you need.
Right.
So that is my point of there's some quirky things and they may work. It may do amazing things for people with that crazy breathing thing that he does every morning. Every morning he does it. Right. And he does also cold plunging, things like that. I don't do that. Maybe I should. That does not sound delightful.
I've not gotten to that point yet, but I do hear legitimate things that does wonders. I hate being cold.
Right. And I know it turns the fats into brown fats, which is what you want. But anyway, there's reasons for it.
So people don't want to pay. They want the short. Well, and we talked about this in weight loss group last night. We talked about how in every human being, we have the desire to take the most painless possible route ever. We have the desire to take the cheapest way possible. We have the desire to say, I don't need anybody's help. I'm doing this on my own. We have that innate desire in us anyway. But there are some really big dangerous things that can happen. Now, can you find stuff for free on the internet that is going to help you? Absolutely. Can you find products that probably would help you? Absolutely. However, there's a reason why the clients that graduate from our program are successfully changed for life versus those who do it on their own. And we're seeing this right now in our challenge, in our 30-day challenge, carnivore challenge, because we've had some people come in with some wacky ideas and I've done this for 7 years and this is how I've done it. Well, how did it work?
It's not working for you, bud.
Not working for you. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why somebody would invest versus just going and finding something free on the internet. And if you have an opinion about this, drop it in the comments section alone. If we have not chased you away with our election talk, or come at us that way too. I'll come back right at you. But drop it in the comments if you can. Maybe we shouldn't have gone live today. Maybe there needs to be a temperature. Maybe we should come back after election day.
No,
I'm sorry. I saw that statistic and I did not realize how mad I was about it.
I mean,
I
those.
didn't realize.
Well, let's talk about statistics for a second. Like things
Mhm.
like that, political wise or even health wise. You're looking at
Mhm.
these high numbers, and then people are still not affected by that. They are
No.
not understanding that, a large percentage of people are obese. Like they don't
Yeah.
care about
They
that.
don't
They think,
care.
"Oh, this is normal now." And we are normalizing what should not be normal.
How many
So,
diabetics there are walking the face of the earth and they don't care because they've
right.
got a pill. They've got a shot. They don't
So
care.
So what is it going to take for you to get fired up like this? Like I am done poisoning my kids. I'm done poisoning myself. I'm done looking at these percentages and
Mhm.
saying that this is normal. This is not normal.
No.
So this is why we're
Unfortunately, on the political, well, both sides. On the political side, we're going to face communism. On the
oh,
health side, it's a diagnosis that you're dying and you have 6 weeks to live because you have cancer. It's the
right.
diagnosis, and then it's communism on the political side
Right.
when you
Right.
don't vote, right?
Right. Right.
So there are consequences, but we
Yeah.
don't we don't we don't face them until it's too late. And then
Right.
what do you do?
Right. People have to apparently hit rock bottom in order to know that a change needs to happen and something is not whatever they've been told by their physician for years is
Mhm.
not working.
Not working. It's killing you.
So going back to your comment about what we're discussing today is an expert versus
Mhm.
not being an expert. Let me just tell you from experience, like I know what it's like to ne- to feel the need to know everything
Yes.
and then doing the Google search and
Yes.
then finding all this stuff and then being overwhelmed with,
Mhm.
well, this is contradicting this. And
Mhm.
and then you get to the point into this middle section of like, what is truth?
Yeah.
What do we believe? This this
Right.
this doctor of 8+ years of education and experience is telling me this thing, but I'm still feeling this way. And then
Mhm.
you've got this other physician that has this new idea of, carnivore
Right.
and is getting rid of these ailments,
Mhm.
but he's not saying what this doctor's saying. So
So
all
what
of
do
this
we do?
starts to jumble in your head,
Mhm.
and that is exactly what we're going to be like touching on today of like
Yeah.
what do we do in the
Yeah.
end of believing what
Right.
works, right?
Well, and
So
I think we have to start with probably the biggest one because it will connect all of them together, and that is that no two people are the same. Every single client we have, you and I have been trained. We've been trained about the science. We did the stuff that I didn't want to know on the front side of my weight loss journey. We did the science of what our treatment works for our clients. But then we also understand that not one single client of ours is on the same program because
right.
every single person is bio individual and they have different needs. And so when you go to some freebie and they say, hey, if you stand on your head, count down, by 100, you're going to lose 100 pounds, and you try that, which there are some goofy things out there like that.
Yeah.
Um, you you get what you get. You get free. When you come to somebody who's been trained, who's done the hard work, who has seen what works in the practice, what doesn't work in the practice, you got the personalization. And really it comes down to, what do you physically need? What do you need in your personal lifestyle? There's
Right.
sometimes I will take a client, we do a 360. We do a turnaround because the path I have them on is not working, and we try
Yeah.
something that works. So, give me an example, Darcy, of something that you have personalized with your clients, that may not be on the interwebs somewhere, but that you have actually taken them and said, you know what, I'm hearing you tell me this is the path we're going down.
Right. So let's say that's a very big question because just depending on the person,
Hmm.
there might be a lot of stress involved in somebody's life that was unexpected. And
Hmm.
so they're not focusing on their health
Right.
during that time. So sometimes we have to put them on survival mode, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We're not going to explain what survival mode is,
Yeah.
because if you need to know what survival mode is, then you need
Yeah.
to seek out a
Then you
coach.
need our
But
services. Right.
but then also, like, somebody comes into me and they're all about fasting.
Mhm.
And maybe they're like, "Oh, you know what? I've been fasting this way for a long time, and now I'm just not losing weight."
Mhm.
Well, then we have to bring another tool in, saying, "Okay, well,
Right.
we're going to stop fasting.
Right.
We're going to look at the nitty gritty details of your macros. If you weren't tracking your macros in fasting, then we're going to ask you to track your macros, so then we know how many calories you're consuming. If you're
Mhm.
not getting enough calories in a long, you might have been done crashed your metabolism. So then
Right.
we then have to look at, okay, we might have to rebuild your macros, or
Yeah.
your metabolic health stuff back up.
Yeah.
That was not sciencey words.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but then if you are eating your macros and you're stalled, then we'll bring another tool that we have in our tool belt that
Yeah.
could be something to shake things up.
Yeah.
um so
Well,
it just
and going
depends.
along the fasting line, a little rabbit trail from that, some people will come to us and say, "I've been fasting. I've been fasting. I've had this coach, and they've made me fast, and and I lost my hair." Well, fasting can easily turn into an eating disorder, and so
Yes.
we will have a client who is insistent upon the fact that the only way I can lose weight is if I do intermittent fasting, and they have allowed it to turn into an eating disorder. We break that cycle
Yes.
right away because it is so close. And I am really, and I don't know if it's because I personally experienced the eating disorder and the binge eating, if it's just personal for me, but I watch really closely for those eating disordered words
Yes.
that come out of their mouth. I wouldn't take a client down the fasting trail until they get that therapy and get rid of the eating disorder
Right.
that has brought. So
Yeah.
fasting works for some people. Other people, we're running from that.
Yeah. And, through our experience, I agree with you. Like, we have a love-hate relationship with fasting.
Mhm.
Fasting can be fantastic,
Mhm.
especially if you're carrying loads of toxins in your body. And that is the step that you need to take next in
Yeah.
order to get rid of those toxins.
Yeah.
But when it does, it can easily become an eating disorder,
Mhm.
especially if you already have a bad relationship with food. What's to say that fasting is going to create a new love for food,
Mhm.
or a new relationship with this experience called eating
Mhm.
and fueling your body? So
Let's go on the
that's
other
kind of,
side of that and let's talk
yeah,
about intuitive eating, of which I
yeah.
hate.
We
I
just,
hate it, but I use it
yes,
because depending on the client and depending what I would do for somebody with an eating disorder,
yeah.
I lean in to the intuitive eating. Now, personally, my intuition is broken. My intuition would take me to Dairy Queen every day. I
Hmm.
understand that about myself. And so when I say I hate intuitive eating, that's what I mean when I say that, right?
Right.
However, when we have somebody who comes, with a potential eating disorder or uh, misusing the intermittent fasting, I am going to lean in to the intuitive eating. That's why I like to see my clients on video. So we coach all over the world, and I've got clients in Israel. We've got them in France. We've got clients all over around the world. I prefer to look at my clients when I'm coaching because when I am looking across from her, I can see, all right, we've had a bad week. We have had some tragedy. We've had some extra stress. I look in their eyes. I can tell a lot from a client by their eyes and by their body, manners. And by that's why you and I took life coaching,
Hmm.
because it is so necessary to use the life coaching and the body language and the unsaid things. I get more in my coaching from things that my clients have not said than when they do talk. You just take a random lemonade diet from the internet that says, "Oh, you'll lose 30 pounds." You don't have that. You don't have that particular real life. You don't have,
Right.
my husband just left me this week. I'm really stressed. The scale went up 2 pounds and I didn't change my eating. Well, they think that food that they've eaten, the normal food, they didn't go off plan, but they gained two
Right.
pounds. Well,
They're
we're able to
blaming it on
sit
the
with them.
food.
And
Yeah.
we're able to talk about oxidative stress. We're able to talk about what happens when you are inflamed. That's not body fat that you are gaining. But when
Right.
you do it for free and you don't have a coach there to say, this is what's really happening in your body, you're going to shove the donuts down your face because you gained 2 pounds because your husband left you or because your kid, went to college and you're dealing with the extra emotions, right?
Right.
So the unsaid things and the eyes and the body language help us decide what treatment our clients need.
Right. So true. I don't have anything off of that. That was good.
Sometimes I say things. Sometimes it gets me in trouble.
Yes.
And
I
bam.
I I would say this. When you do go to somebody that you see, okay, for example, when I first started, I had people say, "Oh, what are you doing? What did you do?" And it felt like, yeah, I had to know everything about keto. Um, but I did, like, in my head, I was doing a one size fits all. And you talked about being bio individual.
Hmm.
That person's experience may not be the same experience that this other
Hmm.
person needs. Okay. But then when they decide to do what this other person is doing and it's not working for them, that starts to put that discouragement in their heart of like,
Hmm.
oh, well, this doesn't work. And that is why um, most of the time with keto in general has gotten a bad reputation because
Hmm.
no, it is not going to be one size fits all.
Right.
And so when you do go to somebody and you see that it's working for them, that is where that's where the coaching comes in.
Yeah.
That's where the expertise. We've seen a lot of different types of personalities. We've seen a lot of different types of needs. And for some reason, I don't know if you would agree with me on this, um, but for some reason, I don't think we have one client that's on the same program, right?
No, we
Like
don't.
we
No.
don't.
No.
So putting a one size fits all, there's
Wait.
this.
Wait. Let me talk about that.
Okay.
Because you brought something in my attention. So
Yes.
you and I have a program that we don't like. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm wrestling with as a CEO of a company who, you know, who I love helping clients, but it's what I do for a living, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't do clients, I don't keep the lights on, right? So I've got to think of the financial factor. I learned a new term this year from my bookkeeper called P&L statements, profit and loss
Mm.
statements.
Mm.
I have to look at those and I have to care about them.
Yeah.
However, you and I hate a program that we offer because,
Yeah.
frankly, people will drop $1,500 into 1 month's worth of a shot, right? But they will
Yes.
not drop money into changing their lifestyle. Path of least resistance. That's what happens. And so we
Yep.
have this one program who they only get to meet with us twice. It's an 8-week program, but it is affordable. It is
It
probably
is affordable.
it's the cheapest one we have on
Yep.
our package.
It
Cheapest
is.
one. People want that because it's cheap. However, you and I both know a really dark secret about that package. It's only worked for maybe one of your clients.
Yeah. Yep.
75% of all self-help books are still on the shelf. This package requires the client to do all of the research. We feed it to them, but they have to actually go in and read it because they
Mm-hmm.
only get to meet with us twice in that 8
Yeah.
weeks. And that package is very profitable on my P&L statement. Very profitable because people want the cheap way, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the least successful. Our most successful program we have is 3 months when we can walk them through the pits. We can walk them through the stresses. We can walk them through the detox. We can walk them through and we meet with them face to face, eyeball to eyeball every week. The
Yes.
accountability section. We know those programs are the ones that they walk away losing 150 pounds
Yeah.
forever,
Yes.
not going back. Like they could
Because
come back and coach for
we
us.
get to take them to. We talk about the different seasons that you go through. We've
Mm-hmm.
kind of through our experience, we've labeled them ourselves
Mm-hmm.
of what they are based on the average
Mm-hmm.
experience that people go through. Um, we want to be able to get them to that season that
Mm-hmm.
takes the scales off their eyes, and
Yeah.
no longer do they want to think about weight loss
Right.
as the main reason why they're changing their
Mm-hmm.
health, but then they see the other things that are like those statistics,
Yeah.
those numbers will affect them because they're like,
Yeah.
wow, I was a part of that percentage
Mm-hmm.
until I wasn't.
Right.
Until they had the scales taken off their eyes and they were
Yeah.
able to see that all the poisons, all the
Or we
things that were
dragged
affecting
them.
them.
I mean, there's sometimes where they don't even see it, but we're dragging them whether they wanna come or not. And we're
Yeah.
dragging them literally behind us with a group of weight loss warriors at the back pushing them. Like, sometimes
Yeah.
it's bloody. It's not a
It is.
pretty sight. Sometimes I have to say some really hard things. So sometimes they still don't get it, but we're dragging
Right.
them,
Yeah.
right? So those
Yeah.
are the programs that work.
Yes.
People don't wanna pay for that,
No.
right? Because that takes hours of these coaches' times. People think, well, they start to do the math and they're like, well, I only meet with you. No, you don't know the hours that go into, coaching somebody through that. So
Mhm.
that is a perfect example of what you were talking about earlier. And I forget what exactly it was, but that's an example of, okay, it doesn't work. We know the programs that work and the
Yeah.
shortcuts don't necessarily work, even though you have it, because you are lacking the accountability, which is kind of where we're morphing into, is the
Yep.
accountability section.
Yep. And it's helpful in somebody's journey to be able to, yeah, you can definitely Dr. Google it. You can
Hmm.
definitely follow what these other experts are telling you to do.
Hmm.
If you're not joining in on their program either, I'm just
Hmm.
gonna say that, um, and you're just sliding on through, you're gonna
Hmm.
get to a situation where having somebody else's eyes on the outside of your
Yeah.
situation is gonna be way more helpful to keep
Yeah.
moving forward than if you were asking that, well, why is this? Why is
Right.
this? Why can't I get like here? Why
Hmm.
is this not working for me? Why is
Hmm.
this, it worked for this other person? Why is this, why does food hate me so much?
Hmm.
Why do I have such a bad relationship? Um, but having eyes on the outside, which is what Monica and I do. We are the eyes on the outside, being able to
Hmm.
see, gather the data, the stuff that you're doing, the information that's happening to you, and we're able to give you a summary of like, hey, could it be
Right.
this? What do you
Right.
think about this?
Yeah.
And then they have their own aha moment. So we're not telling them you're doing this and that you're failing
Hmm.
because of this. No, we're
No.
helping them through the situation, helping them discover through experience
Hmm.
to say, well, maybe this is the
Or
problem.
trying something radical. I've
Yeah.
I've had number of sessions where I'm like, okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. Do you want to go radical with me? Do you want to try this? Do you want to
Yeah.
shake things up a little bit? And
Yeah.
do you want to bring in
We,
some carbs? Do you want to, things like
yeah.
that we can, I just did that with a client this week, stuck on the scale. I'm like, all right, and when I do this, by the way, I put my addiction specialist hat on and I do not do this with, food addicts. I just can't, you
Right.
can't.
You can't.
But I
Nope.
said, okay, the scale's been stuck. Your body is just like happy. It is just having a party because homeostasis is what it wants. That's what it got. So are you ready to throw in some carbs? And she's like, all right. She was terrified. She did it. She lost a pound, got that scale moving again. So those kinds of things you don't have when you do it for free. You need to bring in somebody to troubleshoot with you and have that accountability. And then talk a little bit, Darcy, about group and the group
Yeah.
accountability.
Listen, group accountability, that is gold.
Mm-hmm.
If you want anything, having the idea behind you and or actually more beside you of knowing that there are people walking in the same journey,
Right.
similar, not same,
Yeah.
similar
Similar.
journey, having a similar mindset,
Mm-hmm.
uh uplifting. That's the
Yeah.
word. Is it's
Yeah.
uplifting to know that there's people that too also are concerned about their health and knowing that there is a root
Mm-hmm.
problem and you're trying to work through that.
Yeah.
You understand that you're a food addict. Maybe there's other people in that same group that are still, and that percentage is pretty high. You said 83%.
One out of
Uh,
three.
1 out of 3
Yeah.
people have a food addiction, and they're either not willing to say that they have a food addiction. That was
Mm-hmm.
me for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you have the aha awakening, but you have the
Mm-hmm.
group support of saying, "Hey, you can do this. Like you've got this. We're so proud of you. Like you are walking this journey." I had a client today just saying, this one client that just talked about how she has is at her 80-pound mark.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, that was just so inspiring.
Oh, it
Can you
is.
tell her that it was so inspiring?
Yeah.
And that it just motivated me to see her journey that she walked through. These are people in the same group, and
Yep.
they're being inspired by each other because of that
Yeah.
consistency and that hard work. That
My
is
cheeks
why group
hurt.
is gold.
Monday, my cheeks
Oh my
hurt
goodness.
because I was smiling so big. And
Yeah,
sometimes a group is sad.
it
Sometimes a
is.
group is we grieve with them.
Mhm.
This week for some reason my cheeks hurt because I was smiling so big because we
Yeah.
had so many in there who were just celebrating. We've got faces that are literally falling off. Like
I know.
every time I meet with them, they've changed, and it inspires me,
And you
because
see
sometimes,
their glow, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why the face to face is really important because you see
yeah,
their glow then. You see
yeah,
that automatic light bulb that has been turned on, and you can literally see that light bulb glowing through the
yeah.
screen, and that affects the group as a
It
whole.
does.
Like when
It
somebody
does.
sees not being miserable and
Mhm.
feeling depressed and have
Mhm.
anxiety, all these things. Yes, those days still come, those days
Mhm.
still happen, but that is where the light of somebody else that is going
Yeah.
through something big can then inspire somebody who just feels like it's
Mhm.
just not worth it. And
Yeah.
then they see
There's a
somebody who's consistent and they are just glowing. They're like, I
yeah.
want that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I'm googling myself.
Oh,
Um
why would
Proverbs
you? Oh,
3:12. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. That has just stuck with me. Number one, it's stuck with me politically because we are in a cesspool right now of depression and like
yeah,
anxiety and anger. And I have been clinging on to that one this season of my life, because it is so true. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. And so if you're doing this thing alone, you're going to struggle. You're going to be on the
yeah.
struggle bus. But when you link into the same network and the same electricity as somebody who's doing the same thing with you,
That light
y-
spreads.
it does.
It
It
really
does.
does.
And you change from the inside out. And then when you change from the inside out, the outside changes.
Yeah, the
So it is
confidence.
powerful.
Let me just tell you how confidence just shines so bright when you are walking around. Before, when you were just so insecure, your confidence level of maybe even at work, if you felt like you had the same idea as somebody else, but they had this confidence of sharing that
Hmm.
same topic, that somebody's going to notice between the two, the lack of confidence versus the confidence.
Yeah.
And what it takes the confidence to happen, and this is was part of my battle. It wasn't weight loss, it was
Hmm.
gaining the confidence of being able to
Hmm.
use my brain,
Yeah.
and know that my brain can work.
Yeah.
When I get all the garbage out of it,
Yeah.
it's actually pretty smart.
Yeah. It
So you
is.
have to walk through day by day knowing that your choices matter. The way you
Hmm.
treat other people matter. The way you carry yourself matters. And when
Hmm.
you let that joy and that confidence just shine on through, it's going to,
Yeah.
no doubt about it, make people start to question, like, why
Yeah.
is she so happy? Why
Yeah.
is he seem like he's glowing? Why
Right.
is it, asking these questions, and then that's when they come up to you and say, hey,
Yeah.
what are you
What's
doing?
going on? Yeah.
What is
There's
happening
a
to you?
saying out there that says, what you say will happen, will happen. What you
Mm,
say is true. If you say you can, you can. If you say you
hmm.
can't, you can't. Our
Yeah,
words really do matter.
they do.
And so you put your words with somebody else, and that doesn't mean that somebody else isn't having a struggle day. Perhaps you're having a really, really bad day, and you can just say, "Hey, I'm tapping out for a second because I don't feel like I'm strong
Yeah.
enough." That other person comes in and says, "You know what? I was just there. I just hit Wonderland." And that scale didn't move again until the next month. And I thought for sure once I hit Wonderland, which is 199, I thought for sure that scale was going to move, and it didn't move for a week or a month. Usually it's a month before that scale
Yeah.
moves again. What's wrong with me? I'm broken. I knew it wouldn't work. And then somebody who has just gone through that and is in the 180s now has said, you know what? The same thing happened to me. And suddenly, don't know what I did, but suddenly that scale started moving
Yeah.
again. So
The
those
biggest
are
thing
the top things, the
well, can I add
accountability.
I wanna add one more
Yeah.
thing for group. You were just talking about this. But the stories that you experience, don't think that your story doesn't matter, because your story does matter. It is gonna may not connect with the whole world or the majority of people, but if it even just connects with one person,
Mm-hmm.
you could be planting a seed for that one person that is walking through similar shoes that you are.
Happened to you and your client this morning.
Yes.
The one person who spoke up yesterday, and here's the other thing. I know that person that spoke up yesterday, and this person has said in the past, I don't want to brag. I don't want to say the good things that have happened because I don't want someone, but her testimony of she hit 80 pounds inspired your client today.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely did.
It's contagious.
So don't think that your stories are just blah. It's just
No.
what I'm not important.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't matter to anybody else.
Do you want a sneak preview of what happened to me this weekend?
Yeah. Well,
the title of my next conference.
Oh, I thought you were going to write another book.
I don't know. God gave me the words woman
All right.
unbound. Woman unbound, because women, sorry men, I'm going to speak to women right now. Women are in this space of they've lost their identity. They think they're worthless. They think life has overtaken them. They've gotten fatter and fatter and fatter. They don't understand why. They have been slapped with PCOS. They have literally been bound. And I'm writing, I don't know what it's going to turn into, but this conference spoke to me greatly and made me realize I need to come out of hiding and write what I really want to, and that's the title, Women Unbound. Because when we get healthy and when we decide we've had enough and we want to find our identity again, we want to live to where God wants us to live, we're going to become unbound. We're going to do what it takes, and we're going to say, screw you, devil. I am going to become unbound, and I'm going to serve, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do no matter what. Fired up about it because I am sick and tired of seeing women chained. Sick and tired of it. And I know men are chained too.
Yeah.
But my passion is seeing women step up to their calling and become unchained by their health and by their confidence, lack of confidence. So yeah, that is why you don't want to do this thing alone. You can't do this thing alone. I can't do community alone. I spoke on that on my Facebook about my church experience and doing church alone for 26 years by myself, with nobody that I thought was surrounding me. And then going into an environment where I found a family, it's like night and day difference. The same goes for weight loss. The same goes for reversing chronic disease. You don't have to do it alone.
Right.
Even I think you have a choice.
I was going to say, even for you introverts out there, you still need people.
I am an introvert, and don't laugh at me.
Are you? You are not an introvert.
Honest 100%. Honestly, an introvert. I am a forced extrovert. This here is not me. Not me at all. Unless I get mad about something, like 51% of Christians not voting, then I come out of my shell. No, this is not me. So you can be an introvert. Find yourself.
You might be an ambivert. Have you ever thought about that?
I think I am. I'm
an ambivert where I can go both ways.
You can go both.
You're both. You're like 50-50.
My people.
Brain.
I was at a political event last night. That was in my line. Like those were my people. I had my congressman cornered, and I'm like, listen, RFK, I want to talk to you. You're getting my vote, but I want to talk to you about yellow dye 5. Can we have a conversation? And here's the other thing, Congressman. There's a bill that is on the platform right now, and you know who's authoring it? A Democrat. What do we do about that? Because it's a good bill. He's like, I want it on my desk. You bring it to my desk tomorrow morning. I want it. Let's talk about it. So last night I was in my zone.
Yes.
Not at church. At church, I am not in my zone. Uncomfortable, very fearful, very shy, very demure. Have you seen that?
Oh my goodness.
TikTok?
Yes. Oh. Yeah, I heard a bad thing where somebody that didn't even create that patented it. Who in their right mind does that? That's just unethical.
I have my opinion on who it'd be. Yeah. Yeah. That is just, not good. See, when you tune into our lives, you get things for free. Like
Variety.
you get opinions for free. You didn't even ask for them. What a great deal is that? Oh my gosh,
That's why
y'all.
we work well together,
I
I
know.
think.
I think you get a little bit nervous though. I think you get a
Sometimes
little bit nervous when I open my mouth. You're like, where's she gonna go?
I go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't work in some situations. It wouldn't
No,
work. It
no.
didn't work for us. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Anyway,
So the point
the
of
moral,
today,
yeah, the
the
moral of the
point of
story.
today is don't do this thing alone. You were
Yeah.
not created to do this thing alone. You can't do it alone. Even if
And
you lost the weight and you're alone, you're not keeping that weight off.
yeah,
If
I
everything
was
I
going to
say
say,
can be proven.
yes. I was going to say also, and don't be just going to your next door neighbor
Oh my word.
and think that they know it all
What is the
or consider them
craziest
a coach.
story? What is the craziest story that you have found that somebody has followed? That their neighbor told them?
I mean,
I know the craziest research.
I mean, just, I mean, if you think about it in general, that, like, hold on, it's all coming up to my brain. When somebody thinks that eating the proper human diet, which is fruits and
Whole
berries,
Foods. Mm-hmm.
whole foods,
Mm-hmm.
is going to kill you,
Yep.
that to me is like, what?
The
Or
studies.
eating.
Intermittent fasting will lead to an early death and a heart attack. Come on.
I saw something where they were trying to do that with carnivore.
Yes.
Like they did the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that this is the opposite of what the carnivores are believing, that
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to reverse your ailment. You are going to have higher cholesterol. You are going to feel depressed and groggy and down. And I'm like, that's stupid. Duh.
Half the
Just like
time we
that.
spend in our coaching sessions, it's debunking those things they found on the interwebs on Dr. Google. And I'm like, you know what? You believe what you want, but let's get your blood tested.
Okay, here's the stupidest thing. And I saw this on somebody else's the carnivore group. Somebody made this comment about it. And they're like, "Oh, so because one dude tells you and maybe a couple other dudes tell you that this lifestyle is going to change your life and you have ailments, blah blah blah, that you should do this." Well, here's an awakening, fella. Most of those researches about cereals that you are needing to eat for heart health was written by one person with no true
With a lot of
research.
money. With
With
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
money.
money.
And they paid a
So,
lot for that logo. How much was
and
the Cheerios heart logo purchased for? Do you remember?
it's a
It was
lot.
yeah.
It was a
To
lot.
put that heart healthy logo on Cheerios, he
Yeah.
paid for that.
Yes. That was one man, y'all. One man.
Mhm.
And we have millions of people with experience.
Mhm. Yep.
I feel like there's more research behind somebody changing their world around health-wise with
Mhm.
eating the whole foods and no garbage crap, ultra processed junk garbage that they're trying to feed us, versus somebody on the other side, one man.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that just
Oh yeah. Yep.
there.
We
Anyway,
love the soapbox. We do. That's
was
what
my
our
soapbox.
lives are for. When we do podcasts, which by the way, just dropped today,
Oh, yeah.
how to escape the failures of weight loss, just dropped this morning at 6 a.m. Go to Beyond the Scale, and I just dropped the link in the comment section.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really
Because I
good.
forget what it was about.
Next week, we've got a client testimony coming up. Our Stephanie's going to give her testimony.
Yay! I'm loving this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be I've already interviewed a couple clients, and I'm
Mhm.
getting ready to interview another
Awesome.
this Thursday. So we're gonna
Awesome.
hopefully keep all you clients out there. Don't be timid. We already have some brave people, and listen to them. So then you're like, oh, that's not so
Yeah.
bad. I'll give my
I
testimony.
can do it. I
I
can do
can do it.
it.
That's just like a
Absolutely.
nudge. Like, hey,
Absolutely.
contact your coach.
Oh, well, we want to encourage you today. Stop going on the interwebs. If you are
Yes.
tired of doing the circle, tired of doing this over and over and over, just stop that cycle and just say, all right, I'm in. I got to do something. Oh, here's an announcement, by the way. Public service announcement. Has nothing to do with George Barna. But it was official. I got a notification yesterday. If you are on the weight loss shot, if you're on tirzepatide, specifically, yesterday was the official day. So what happens with this weight loss shot is people can't afford it. $1,500 a month, they can't afford it. Insurance is not going to pay. Medicare is not going to pay. And so tirzepatide is about 15. That's one of the top priced ones. And basically what they've done is when they are on the we can't make enough of this list. I forget, what do you call that list? There's a specific list that says we can't make enough. Okay. So then the compound pharmacies are allowed to come in at that point and make a compound, which is cheaper, which is what most people are on. What happens when they remove their name from that list of now we can make enough for everybody, compound pharmacies are banned. They're not allowed to make that brand. And so we got notice yesterday, and we've been hearing this, and people have been, oh man, they come for me in the comments about, you don't know what you're talking about. It will be here forever. Don't worry about it. Now it's here. Tirzepatide is the first one. They're going to go after Wegovy next and then Ozempic. But basically what this means is they will own the market on these things. So price gouging, because they're the only ones that can make it now, they're going to jack that price up to where there's no way you can, unless you're, if you have an extra couple grand a month, you might be able to afford it, but you won't be able to get it from the compound pharmacy. And I have now spoken with the compound pharmacy, and they said, yes, that's what's happening. Now, if they're I don't know, it's an A and B. So the A, like a 501c3 or C4, kind of not that, but if it's an A or B pharmacy, they have 6 months to make it. And then the A's are just, we can't do it anymore. And so people are like, buy everything you can right now. And it's real, it's happening. So if you are on the weight loss shot, here's your fair warning. Make sure you grab a coach and get your lifestyle on track, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to lose that weight loss shot. And what happens? Hunger noise comes raging back. You gain about 5 pounds a week back. So this is happening, and people are still, yesterday I posted, and that won't happen. It's here. I got the notice from my doctor. It is here. Tirzepatide's the first one. Next is Wegovy. It's going to help our company. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I don't know of a lot of people who have $2,000 a month. Don't know. There are some.
Might be people out there.
There's people. And there are some things with the, with the insurance does cover, their shots and all of that. But that happened yesterday. So if you find yourself in that place and you want to titrate yourself off, take the natural GLP-1 and then fix your lifestyle, you can actually keep your weight off, and you can keep going. You can keep going. So there's your warning. First warning. It's very scary. It's very scary, and it's sad. It's really sad, because you and I know how it felt to lose the weight. And to have that fear because you haven't changed your lifestyle of it raging back is it is really sad.
I can tell you in my lifestyle right now, I don't have a fear of food.
No.
I don't.
The first time, I don't
either. For the first time, I don't have a fear of food. I don't have a fear of going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a healthy fear of it, because I know that if I go to where I used to be, then, I am be unguarded.
Yeah.
Then I can go backwards because I'm not eating the way I need to.
Right.
But
since I went carnivore, people were laughing at my post yesterday because I put my eggs on the picture of the plate of eggs on and they're like, oh my gosh, you eat that much? And yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have 4 eggs. Well, this morning I got to my 3rd egg, and I'm like, I had that feeling of, oh my gosh, it hit me hard. So
if they saw what I have.
People are judging me. They're judging me. How many eggs are you eating?
And guess what? We are at a healthy weight.
Yes, we are. And we feel good.
And we feel good and satiated and all that and fueled and
Yes.
like that. I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another
I was
story.
watching the conversation in the carnivore chat that we've got going, and the average weight loss in there is about 9 pounds. They're all
Nice.
super excited.
Yes. I
If you
love
need
it. I
if you
can't
need
wait
help,
for a group night.
yeah, I mean that's tonight.
That is
And
tonight. I
the
can't
people
wait.
who come to group live tonight are going to get a free recipe. That's
Whoop,
the
whoop.
benefit for those people who show up to class.
As long as I can find it.
As long as you can find it. Make one
Because
up.
we're still looking.
If you need help, I just posted our website, kmhealthcoaching.com or .org. I'm going to
redo
fix that.
Look at that.
www.km.
I like to say our ORG. Somebody else.
There we go.
I think that's pbs.org.
We're here every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let us know if you have a topic you want us to address. Or if you're like, hey, please don't talk about voting again. I'm not going to listen to you, but you can tell us that.
You can try. I mean, you can put your... We have suggestion box.
Suggestion box. There's some things that we throw in the next file. Other things, other things, we're like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
You can cut. Can we invite them on to our chat if they want to hear something else?
Drop it in there.
If you want,
this has been a very quiet class today. Very quiet class today.
Yeah,
Nobody said a word. I think I scared them.
That's true. You might have. They were like, "Oh, Monica's on fire today."
I think that we probably shouldn't bring that topic up with her today.
Hey, if they don't know by now, we get on soapboxes, and we're very passionate about.
I am who I am.
And Clark
I love this country.
Clark wants to get on a soapbox too.
Oh yes, he does. He knows that we're winding up. Yes, he knows that it's time to go.
He wants to get on a soapbox.
Aw.
Oh, such a lovey guy.
Oh.
Maybe people will chime in if Clark's here.
Maybe he will bring the buffer.
But your breath kind of stinks.
Oh. All right, guys, we're going to wind it up for the week. If you run over to podcast, our Beyond the Scale podcast, it just dropped. You can hear more of what we were talking about today.
Yes.
All right. We will see you next week, everybody.
Toodles.
Monica here. Guess what? If you're fed up with feeling stuck in your battle with weight or food, I've got something just for you. Check out our free Facebook groups. Over at Food Addiction and Recovery, I'm over there waiting for you. We're going to walk this journey together. It's about getting real, sharing our stories, and lifting each other up. We're in this together every step of the way. And if you're curious about changing your life with keto, the Weight Loss Project is where you want to be. Coach Darcy is amazing. And together, we're not just talking about losing weight. We're talking about finding a happier, healthier you. So, what do you say? Are you ready to join us? The links are in the show notes below, and I'm telling you, this is more than an invite. It is